It's at the 6 minute and 12 second mark.
And we are live, and I'm here with BZ Watchdog, and I am attorney Michael Eline. I am an attorney licensed in both California and Texas, and this is about a case that just went down in Texas. And BZ Watchdog is a friend of Carolina Fort Worth, so this is going to be, coming from somebody who actually cares about her, not someone who's just trying to get some popularity from her. And we're trying to help her with her situation. Many of you are probably aware, she was face slammed by Officer Matt Kreuger, who has a history of violence against people, against civilians. And apparently he's been transferred from department to department, and we're learning more and more about him. Now, BZ appears to be on quiet right now, or not.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. You're with us. Okay. So BZ's with us.
I'm just off screen right now because I'm laying down. My back's hurting.
No problem. I'm just trying to get rid of some of this glare.
No. Hey, and I found that in Carolina's video, it's at the 6 minute and 12 second mark where you see my video from that other clip we had and hers, so you can see the exact landmark that I'm at.
All right, we're going to play that in just 1 second. I'm just trying to fix something really quick.
Guys, I'm sorry I don't have my picture up. I'm kind of in a little bit of pain. I've been upset all day. Mike knows how I've been, and I had to kind of take something for the pain and lay down. So this is why I'm not in front of cameras right now. I was earlier, but so I do apologize. But I do have Brownie's picture up, so you guys can see Brownie there.
All right, so what we're going to do is, BZ, I'm going to go ahead and show them the video of where you...
Is there any way you could put my video and hers up side by side so you can see those two time frames together?
I wish there was. Unfortunately, I have to...
I got you.
I can only show one at a time, but what I'm going to do is...
Go to the 23 minute... On this video, it's 23 minutes.
BZ was out cop watching, and so we got this...
I actually went to the scene of the crime.
So I just want people to know something. This is more than 99% of lawyers would do, even if their client suffered a brain injury. I mean, BZ is literally going out and doing an accident scene investigation right after the accident. This footage could actually be used as evidence in a case potentially. If he had been there and he was narrating what happened. So it's just really cool to see that you guys are real activists. So when people make fun of auditors and people trying to hold the government accountable, I always find that disconcerting. I just put BZ on mute for a second until he gets squared away. But I really appreciate all 1,700 people.
Here we go, Mike.
Today for Team DLZ to hold the government accountable. Let me go ahead and put him back on. Can you hear me, BZ?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put you back on the screen. All right,
because all I see is you.
Yep. Okay. Here you go. I'm going to go ahead.
Pause it right there. Pause it right there. See, go back to that building. Go back to that building. So go back like 2 seconds on that. No, go 23:50. I think it was like 20. I think it was 23:52 or something like that, or 32. 23:32. Right? Yeah, right there. Right there. And then hit play and then pause it. Pause it right there. Okay. See that building across the street? Now, they actually have that middle barn door open. Now, go back to Carolina's video at that 6 minute and I think it was like 12 second mark.
Ladies.
Pause it right.
Hey, ladies.
There. Oh, a little bit more, like 1 second.
Hey, ladies. Hey,
right there. See that brown door? Go back to my video and look at the brown door on the barn there. Your mic's off again.
You guys see that in the sidebar? Give me a bunch of ones if you see that in the sidebar. He's showing you that this is where she got slammed.
She was able
He
to.
went back.
She was able to zoom in. I wasn't because I was on the live stream.
Got it. So,
But look for the. Try to look. Yeah, go back to hers and try to look for the. See if that pole's in the way. And you'll see like where she was, because you got to remember she was back behind the cars. That's actually a handicap spot right there where that silver car is. And I just want to show you guys that it was the same spot.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and play the video of where you find where her head slammed into the concrete.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, face planting. Right. But this is the angle right about here where she was.
Yeah, People Actual Liberty wants you to know that People Actual Liberty says, BZ, that bloodlust is the term that he would use to describe the officer. And that, I think I said that earlier. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Now I see Wexel right there.
There it is.
I get closer too on that video.
Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, keep going.
So guys, look at my mouse. That is literally the pool of blood where her head was.
See some stuff on the. Oh, you know what? I see right where it's at. I see it right here.
Oh, right here. I'm sorry. Is that the blood where she got injured? Yeah. Right there. That's human blood. That's probably where her hair was dipped into the blood. Yep. Holy shit. Dude, take photographs of that too with a high definition camera. That's evidence.
That's going to be where you're.
So there's the building. And then here is, let's look at hers again. So she had her camera on. So now let's go ahead and finish her up.
There's no nothing.
You can go to the other side of the street. You're going to get arrested. I'm not warning you again.
What are you talking about?
Go to the other side of the street right
Why?
now.
Wait, tell me why first.
You're under arrest. You're not.
No, not under it. Okay.
Stop resisting.
Now, I wanted to bring something up, Mike, that I didn't get to bring up earlier that I noticed afterwards.
Go ahead, man.
Okay, we all hear him get on the radio and say, need a call for a supervisor, then you hear him mumble something else.
Yeah.
How did her live stream go dead at 7 minutes exactly? How come it didn't stay out there longer? So somebody took the time to go reach for the phone and turn off her live stream while they were having a medical emergency?
They're probably trained to do that.
Sounds to me, since you heard in the Mata's video earlier, that they took his body cam off of him. They never turned it into evidence. Well, obviously, those girls didn't have their body cams on because they were walking away from her. And do you think Kreuger really turned his on when he got out of the car? So hers was probably the only video evidence.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. Can you imagine if we hadn't had that? We'd really be in trouble.
So I'm thinking they were trying to turn it off to figure out how to erase it.
Yeah.
And when they shut it off, it uploaded to YouTube.
I'm going to go ahead and just let the audience hear the last of it.
Okay.
Hear the cups. You can hear her breathing. Trying to breathe. So I think you guys get the idea, right? She was out cold. That's what you sound like when you get knocked out. And her brain was struggling for oxygen, and that causes you to breathe like that, unfortunately. So that's kind of where we're at.
I see the comments in the comment section. People like, I went back to the crime scene. Yep. Get rid of the evidence. Yep. That's exactly it.
That's right. That's what you did.
And I do have pictures, guys. Not just video. I did take, while I was in that live stream, I went ahead and got out of the chat area, took some pictures. I've got those saved. I lined up the business in her video to my photos so I can show you exactly where. Actually, I think James Freeman's pissed off enough that he's actually heading to Texas right now as we speak. I caught his live stream. He looked like he was driving. there is a city council meeting Tuesday, and I have a feeling James is going to be there speaking.
Oh, that's amazing. So we have a statement from Donna Walker saying she's not snoring. That's the brain attempting to compensate.
From what I hear, that would be the brain trying to get oxygen to the brain after it's
Right.
been.
That's right. Trying to compensate. So let's go ahead and see what San Joaquin Valley has to say about Officer Matt Kreuger. We'll get into brain injuries in a minute.
SJVT.
Yeah. So everybody make sure to like and subscribe to his channel as well. But I just love it that all you guys are fighting hard for people who are trying to hold the government accountable. Really motivates the crap out of me.
Good stuff. So the cop that slammed Carolina Fort Worth, I looked him up, and seems like he's been in trouble before for being violent. He's actually been fired from the city of Irving, Texas. And
See, I mentioned that earlier, Mike.
on this, I'm guessing, is because when he was terminated from that department,
I mentioned that he worked at that same department before. The information's coming out. See, I found that document where I told you it dates back to 2014, where he was suing the city of Irving because they indefinitely suspended him. And that's about 2 years after that happened, he ended up in Fort Worth.
So everybody give BZ a bunch of ones for his investigative journalism and going out to the actual scene of the crime and documenting the blood stain.
Like
How much you guys?
Like OTBO says, once a GBTP, always a GBTP.
Now, how many of you guys think the police even bothered to record that blood stain? Of course they.
Yeah, your mic's.
Why would the police investigate or take a picture of themselves, of the crime they caused? Why would that happen? It wouldn't happen, would it?
Now, Mike, what I am going to do,
doubt it.
Mike, what I am going to do tomorrow, I know Kurt Bronson said this just a second ago about security footage. I'm going to try to beat the cops out there to see if I can't talk to the owners, because they're going to open up about 9 a.m. The shop owners probably don't even
get the
know.
video footage. There's a 3-day loop on most video footage, so get it.
A lot of times there's 21 days with the DVRs and digital now. So
We'll see.
I'm gonna try to see, because I caught the business in the video and I took the pictures. Kurt, I heard you, brother. I was already telling Mike before we got on this live stream I was going to do that. So I want to talk to them and see if we can't get video surveillance before Kreuger's freaking tyrant supervisors try to go over there. Because you got to remember, these cops guard those businesses during those times on the weekends. Got to get over there before the cops do and see if maybe get at least a copy of it. I'm not saying I got to get the actual footage, but let me get the copy of it and we'll go from there. But yeah, there's probably definitely got to be some surveillance somewhere.
Right. And the classic one says, wow, and she's a senior, prone to be injured easily. Sick cops. Pretty gross, but this particular cop sounds like he's got some real problems.
He sued the city of Irving, Texas, for an administrative appeal in the district court of Dallas County. So basically he was crying about being fired, and so he wanted his job back. From what I was reading, it seems like they gave him his job back. In order to read this article, I have to scroll back and forth. For some reason, it's set up like that. I wanted to just kind of copy it and paste it so I can just read it easily, because earlier I was trying to read it and it kind of took me a long time because I had to scroll back and forth. But from what I read, he is a violent dude. So
I would have to agree with that statement.
Irving, Texas, guys. So this was back in 2013, I think, when the incident happened, and he ended up suing in 2014. And like I said, I think they gave him his job back, and they lifted it from the termination to a 15-day suspension. And I did find another picture of him, and I did look and I watched some videos. So I'll be doing a video on this as well. I just wanted to go live really quick, let everybody know to go to Carolina Fort Worth's channel. And also CJ Grisham just went live, and I don't know if he has this information as well. So you guys can send this to CJ Grisham so he can look it over. And it's the complaint petition, Matthew Kreuger versus City of Irving, Texas. A quick Google search will help him find it, but I'm guessing this will be helpful to that case and what's going on. And if I'm not mistaken, Kreuger has also been involved in some OISs before, some officer-involved shootings. And there was another, he gave an award to another cop named Dominguez who took out a threat of a suicidal guy. So in other words, Dominguez didn't want the guy killing himself, so he killed him instead. And this dumb cop, Kreuger,
I love
gave
this
him an
guy.
award for it. I don't know why they used him to give him an award, but they're like, shit, bro, we're some violent animals. We're gonna celebrate this shit. So I'm guessing that's kind of what they did. There's a video that I found on Harvey Freebird's channel that shows the interaction between Manuel Mata and Kreuger. And so I thought about this whole situation, right? And you know, when I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, so who's this cop Kreuger? As soon as they sent it to me, I was watching, and I was thinking, okay, is this cop just a cop who was trying to protect the scene? Is he just kind of new to all of this? Is he not familiar with cop watchers and stuff like that? So, but then, you know, I started, you know, looking into it more. People were sending me videos. Thank all of you guys who are trying to update me as well. And then they sent me Manuel Mata's video of him talking to him. And I found a cleaner version of that on Harvey Freebird's channel. And I'll probably be including those clips on the video that I do regarding this. But, you know, it's not just the cop who doesn't know that cop watchers are out there recording. It's not just the cop who is making a threat assessment and realizing that there really is no threat. This is a cop who's been recorded before, who has been confronted before for being aggressive. He pulled a gun out on Manuel Mata simply for jaywalking. Like, what kind of threat assessment is that? You know, like, this dude.
Your mic's off, Mike.
They also have a tendency to give people tickets who are jaywalking, who are walking in the middle of the crosswalk, and when the light turns red and they're in the middle of the crosswalk, the police literally said on camera, one of these videos, that, well, you're supposed to let the cars go, and that's not the law. I'm licensed in Texas, and that's not true. So you're supposed to be able to get safely across the street. You don't stand there in the middle of a crosswalk and let cars run you over. And in this case, Mata went ahead and got a gun pulled on him for a crosswalk case. So these people must be hard up for money. I don't know. Put it in the comments. Give me a bunch of ones if you think they're hard up for money. And let's just see what else San Joaquin has to say.
Dude is a violent cop, an extremely violent cop. And what's sad is the other two female cops, you know, you hear them and one of them saying, you know, she's bleeding, but you didn't hear those female cops say anything to Kreuger. They didn't say, hey, man, why did you do that? She's a female. She's an older lady. Like, you know, what? They didn't stand up to this cop. Why didn't they do that? And
yeah, we were talking about that too. BZ Watchdog and I were talking about that too, how the female officers tended to drift towards sort of a matronly acceptance of this woman has been hurt, and they were saying she's bleeding, she's injured, and obviously that's when all of a sudden the camera phone cut out, and that's what BZ was talking about. Isn't that interesting that her audio would cut out on her camera phone unless probably that cop turned it off, and he immediately calls a supervisor. He's not even looking to call 911. It takes the females to say, as Carolina is on her face, bleeding, a puddle of blood into the asphalt, it takes the female officer to say she's bleeding, and then all of a sudden the sound cuts out. So we know that something foul is afoot here. And he was basically pointing out, San Joaquin was pointing out, how cowardly are these people, this thin blue line nonsense, where your humanity is basically absorbed into this uniform. Unacceptable.
I think that makes the female officers that were on scene just as bad as Kreuger. You know how a lot of you guys in the comment section, I agree with you guys, there's no good cops, because if there were good cops, you know, where are they when bad cops or misbehaving. So I did want to go live and point that out, folks, that I'm sure CJ Grisham would have found this information sooner or later, but I wanted to get it to him as quick as possible. Look, guys, I'm even thinking of maybe even going out there. Like, I'm gonna talk to the wife and the family. I'm gonna talk to my kids and see who might be willing to go out there.
I mean, this dude is super legit, right? I mean, out of all the guys I've seen, this guy right here, I mean, he is solid. You can tell that his heart is in this.
I think there's
Well,
going to be a rally here, to be honest with you, Mike.
I
hope
think this
so.
is one of the nastiest arrests, takedown, whatever that I've ever seen regarding audits and auditors and cop.
That's
watchers and
calling
stuff
it
like
lightly.
that. It's absolutely disgusting. What I am happy to see is that a lot of you guys are coming together quickly.
Yeah.
And a lot of you guys are covering this. I want to send a shout out to Firm Audits. Also, there is something too. There is you go find on Lady Justice Liberty Press's channel. She Rice Crispy called me and he told me that he watched a video where Jamie Bates, Amazing Audits, is out there, and he made a phone call. I guess I don't know if he talked to the chief of police or somebody out there in charge, but they don't seem too happy with Kreuger. From my understanding, they said this is news too, guys. I don't know if anybody's heard this yet, but they said that Carolina Fort Worth is going to be fine. She's going to be recovering. But who knows if that's true? Anything coming from the mouth of police is it's hard to trust. So keep that in mind, guys. And so I want to give a shout out to Firm Audits, Lady Justice Liberty Press, who's covering it as well. CJ Grisham. I know there's a lot of you guys out there covering it, man. Shout out to you guys. And if I have moderators in here, if you guys can show like links of other people who are covering this as well, that way you guys can go support each other, subscribe to each other, and go subscribe to Carolina Fort Worth. And if you guys find a CJ Grisham's donation link or Carolina Fort Worth's donation link, you guys are welcome to post it here as well. Let's get them some support. Like I said,
the same goes for my sidebar. If you guys want to put any donation links, or if you want to email me one, I can stick it in the description of this actual video so people can just scroll down, click the description, and make a donation.
I'm going to talk to the family. I'm going to see if we can maybe get out there in Texas, maybe go show some support. Just go out there and record and ask questions, guys. I'm not, gonna, promise that I'm gonna go out there and create change and I'm not leaving until fucking we see something done. No, man, I'm gonna do my best to try to just show support.
Yeah, he's cool.
And try to figure out what we can all do together. And this is definitely something that I think Pink Camera Magic earlier was live streaming. I think this is something that makes us all angry, and it makes us all kind of want to come together and support each other in this shit, because that was messed up.
Here's what I don't know. Why isn't the mainstream, why don't we have journalists all over the place trying to cover this?
Up, man, she didn't deserve that. Straight up. I like Carolina Fort Worth. I've talked to her several times on the phone. We text each other every now and then. And I think she has good intentions. I think she's a good person.
Yep.
And she didn't deserve that one bit.
She is a good person.
And I think, sadly, she is able to expose a violent cop in that department. And hopefully this department does the right thing and gets rid of him, because that's just a messed up thing that happened. So,
amen.
Like I said, you guys get that article over to CJ Grisham. I'm sure it'll help them in their case. And what else? From my understanding.
By the way, everybody, a bunch of shout outs to CJ Grisham, combat veteran, super squared away guy, pro Second Amendment like me, veteran like me, although he's combat, which makes him higher up on the scale, of course. Bronze Star with a V. I'm sure he probably knows Dick Heller. I probably saw him at the SHOT Show a couple months back when I was with Dick Heller. I had no clue that there were so many cool people in this movement. It almost seems like the First and the Second Amendment go together. It's like you can't have one without the other. Give me a bunch of ones if you guys agree.
Carolina Fort Worth is they say she's going to recover. They say she's going, she's gonna be doing good. So hopefully we do hear from her soon. And I'll be making a video regarding all this as well, guys. So thank you guys for all the support, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Yeah. So everybody, give me a bunch of shout outs for San Joaquin Valley
Comments if
Transparency.
you guys can.
Let me
hear
just
me.
really quick. I want to see if I can find his actual. Just bear with me, guys. I know this. I'm doing this on the fly, but I really like this guy. I think he's got a really awesome channel. His demeanor is just outstanding. The way he deals with cops, you can tell that he's really good with his kids. Like, this guy's really good. So it's San Joaquin Valley Transparency, and the link, I'm going to drop it right now in the sidebar for y'all. Just want you to see him. And I've been following his channel for years, even before I even knew who Chili was. I've been following this guy, and now I know why. Because you can tell people by their fruits. You can tell their spirit by their fruits oftentimes. And so I'm really grateful we got this guy out there. So anybody got any more questions before we talk about brain injuries? BZ, anything you want to say?
Nope. I'm just kind of riding for the Lord. I can't talk. I'm just rolling with the ride right now, because as soon as we get on this live stream, I'm going to reach out to a few news networks locally and see if we can't maybe get this covered a little bit more.
Man, I hope so. This kind of stuff. So we know now on March 4th that Congress exposed that the FBI was illegally spying on people who support the First and Second Amendment, people who support legal immigration, and they basically labeled anyone who supports a constitutional republic, in a nutshell, as a potential domestic violent extremist. And especially people who are cop watchers and auditors, they are now targeted as violent extremists, and they're all being put into the same pool by the ADL and the Southern Poverty Law Center as racist sovereign citizens. Even if you're Hispanic, even if you're Black, you're considered racist if you support the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. I did a video about this. Can I sue the FBI for illegally labeling me a domestic violent extremist? It's on the video channel. You can look at the actual findings from Congress. This isn't some kind of conspiracy theory where this is really going on. And we know that local law enforcement gets many of their cues from the FBI. And so we see that this is a trickle-down effect. And people like her, when you have an already bad cop, that's just more fuel for the fire. It's a target for a guy like this Kreuger character.
Well, it's not just that he's a bad cop. You got to remember, this retaliation for a previous encounter.
That's right. But see, this is all pretextual justification. If it's a domestic violent extremist, right? If it's a bad person, like if it's a Chili de Castro, then it's justifiable to unlawfully or unjustly throw someone in prison or throw someone in jail, right? If it's an unpopular person who does mean tweets, right? It's okay to level a bunch of bogus charges out of thin air and convict because people don't like them. And the whole idea behind a constitutional republic is that if there was two wolves who wanted to have dinner with a sheep,
You cut out.
If two wolves wanted to have dinner with a sheep, that the sheep would be well armed. And that is what a constitutional republic is. Whereas a democracy is, there's two well-armed sheep. Two well-armed wolves and a sheep for dinner. And that's the difference. So mob rules is democracy. A republic means that the rights of the individual are upheld. And that is what natural law is. And that is what our Bill of Rights is based upon. And so that is John Locke, and that is natural law theory. And Free Country says, I can't find her video. And then, of course, Mushroom Manny says, undesirables become political prisoners. And sadly, that is true. And then they're celebrated hundreds of years later, like a Sir William Wallace, right? So what I want to get into, and this sort of has to do with qualified immunity, is that these police officers, if they have a pretextual justification for violating your rights, they can escape by relying on qualified immunity. They can escape liability for a civil offense by relying on qualified immunity. So as a lawyer, when I sue an officer for a civil rights violation, and in this case, I would say there's a high probability she has suffered a traumatic or a mild traumatic brain injury, that I would think that she would be in a position to sue, and the law enforcement officers will rely upon their qualified immunity to escape liability. Now, in this case, luckily for us and for her, lucky for her, that she caught it on camera, and you can see that she was not a threat to the officer, and there was no justification to pick her up or slam her on the ground. And we know from past encounters between her and the officer that they didn't get along. So we know that there's a history between them, sort of like there was between Chauvin and the guy that they build monuments to, the career criminal.
Floyd.
George Floyd, that guy. It's kind of like that, same kind of deal. So let's see here. Now, Kurt Bronson asks, when does a parking issue require a brutal KO body
Only
slam?
when you
Never.
butthurt the cop's feelings from a previous encounter.
Right. That's sure what it looks like.
I mean,
So
if you
is
watch that video, guys, you'll see that the girls that she's behind in close proximity have their hands up on their vest by their chest in a very de-escalating and calm demeanor. And she says, "Oh, hey, Kreuger." And Kreuger got confrontational within seconds, bounced her head off the concrete.
Oh, it was just awful, man. I mean, I'm still like sick to my stomach. I'm still sick to my stomach over this. So I was at the gym this morning, and BZ texted me and he said, "Hey, Carolina having problems with the police, got arrested again." I'm like, okay, well, that sounds normal. I'm not thinking it's like a major catastrophe or anything. But then after I look at the video, and then I see that he's really pissed off by just the nature of the way he's texting, I canceled all of the podcasts that I had planned and changed everything to focus on her, with the goal that we could hopefully get some press involved, because now is our time to strike, guys. Strike while the iron's hot. We need journalists involved in this. This was clearly improper, what happened to her. Not only does this officer need to pay, but whoever allowed him to be on that force needs to pay. I mean, honestly, with the right legal representation, and assuming she's injured in the way that I think she is, I mean, she'll be able to wear full body armor like a knight from the ancient days next time, it made out of solid gold and pewter and everything else you can imagine. So right now, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what I think happened to her based upon her breathing. And I think that she either suffered from a mild traumatic brain injury or a traumatic brain injury. Now, some people think that because the word mild is used, that means that it's not significant. But actually, a mild traumatic brain injury, especially repetitive ones, can develop into a CTE injury, sort of like Junior Seau. I don't know if you remember him from the San Diego Chargers, but you can become homicidal. There are other people, or suicidal. Other people have gone through this. Hernandez, he was another football player. And of course, we had the NIH cut a deal with the NFL where they basically got, the NFL gave the NIH, we know about the NIH, Fauci's NIH. The FBI gave, not the FBI, the NFL gave the NIH, I think, $60 million to basically come up with all these published studies that football players are Superman. They don't really get injured from concussions. It doesn't really cause problems with their brains like other people because they're like Supermen. And this basically was disproven by Dr. Omalu, Dr. Benton Omalu, who I've interviewed. By the way, I am a brain injury lawyer, so I know what I'm talking about. And so that movie Concussion was made based upon that story. Ultimately, the NFL was forced to take their money back, and these corrupt, scandalous experts at the NIH were forced to admit that what they did was wrong. And it was a big scandal, and a movie was even made about it. But that's the NIH for you, the big pharma guys, the ones who said that the mRNA was safe and effective. So what I want to do very quickly is just go over the differences in the risk factors with brain injuries. Hopefully you can see some of this stuff.
Hey, real quick, Mike, real quick, I just want to comment. I got a tweet back a couple hours ago from the Angry Texan.
Yes.
Said it talks about me having competition up here. Roy City is where to be, so I'm guessing there's some hot stuff out there on the east side of Dallas. But says, I'm sorry this happened, Carolina. You know, someone missed a couple days at that academy. So he's saying
more than that.
He's saying the cop missed a few days at the academy, probably the de-escalation days.
Yeah, he's just got issues. But, you know, they do say, a lot of the people in my sidebar say, cops don't become psychos, psychos become cops. And
yes, I agree with that.
now, I don't know that that's always 100% true. I do believe that a lot of people join the force because they think that they can make a difference. But I think what happens is it becomes like a gang mentality or a gang type of a culture. And the difference between what they're doing and a real gang is that they took an oath to uphold the Constitution. So there should be no code of silence.
I think they watch too much South Park and too much Show the Cops and Starsky and Hutch and think that's real life, and it's really not.
That's probably true, BZ. It's really unfortunate. Now, Josephine Pisculi says it is true. And so Josephine agrees with you, BZ.
Your mic.
I think most people agree with me as well.
Well, I think a lot of people can relate because you got to understand, man, I'm the people's people. I'm down here, boots on the ground. I don't have a law degree. You know, I'm spouting off the law like a constitutional law scholar. I just love Chili. I miss him. You know, I'm out here. What if me, Carolina, Jose Mata, all these people that are boots on the ground? What if these were just regular citizens holding their cameras and asking questions? I mean, would they get treated any differently? Would they get treated the same, or would they get treated with the same biasm that we do?
I don't know. What do you guys say in the sidebar? I want to hear some comments.
I mean, look at George Floyd. Look at George Floyd and Derek Chauvin. Everybody was trying to block their camera views and tell them to step back. You know,
that's true. That is true.
And there is a clip. I don't know if you remember the show In Living Color with Jim Carrey back in the day of the 90s.
I love that show. That was awesome, man.
Okay, do you ever remember the scene?
What blah 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 and living color? Yeah, that one.
Do you ever remember the scene where they're actually at the police academy and Jamie Foxx is like one of the recruits, and this guy's like talking like Sylvester the cat, spitting everywhere, and he says, "No, the guy with the gun is not your enemy." And then the pop up of the guy with the knife. No, he's not the enemy. Just wait. And then the guy with the big old camcorder pops up. He goes, "That's your enemy. Take him out. And then you can waste anyone else you want." So the cameraman is always the first person you take out, according to the skit back in the early 90s. So what does that say? Cops have never liked cameras. Why do you think their body cameras go missing or muted or fail to activate?
Yeah, that's true. The police officers never liked being filmed. And, you know, when I first started out doing this stuff, we didn't even really have cameras unless they were large, and the police didn't like it, and they would smash our cameras or even our audio recorders. And it was a real problem. And
now can I tell you what, guys? Anybody who's live streaming out there, Chuck Bronson uses a thing called Restream. It's like StreamYard, but you need a certain code to shut that live stream down. So like how those cops grabbed her phone and turned it off, if they would have done that, her live stream would have still continued. We could have heard everything they said, guys. You need to use Restream. I found this out the night. Remember we covered when Chuck Bronson got arrested, detained for flashing those lights in there, but he was shoved in the back of the patrol car with tight handcuffs on.
Right.
The only reason we heard that whole thing is because they thought they shut off his stream. Problem is, Restream was still playing it live, and that's when we heard News Now Patrick just keep talking like Motorola.
Yeah.
And telling the cops about his warrants and how he went to jail. Well, that Restream captured everything because those cops thought the camera was actually off when it wasn't.
Oh, interesting. Well, that's a great idea. What do you think, Kurt Bronson? Kurt Bronson asks, will this cop have to explain publicly? Should he have to explain publicly? This is obviously a public issue. What do you guys think? Do you think that this officer's record is going to go public?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right.
Because
Yeah.
who can make that happen?
Ken Paxton.
I was gonna say the Attorney General Ken Paxton, exactly.
Yeah, but that would require a lot of pro Second Amendment.
Oh,
clock
no,
watchers.
sir. He's under current indictment investigation by the FBI. He's not going to fuck up anytime soon.
Well, yeah, he's always going to be under investigation because he's going after Big Pharma. He's trying to take away their immunity.
Well,
families who lost family members can get compensation.
He beat the last rap in February, but then a month later, FBI filed separate charges on him regarding a separate incident.
Yeah, they tried to get him impeached with bullshit charges too that were admittedly false. Anything they can do to stop him from going after Pharma, they're going to do it. They're all in bed together. They're making millions and they're immune from being sued unless an attorney general can lift the shield of immunity, which is one of the reasons I became a licensed attorney in Texas, because I knew that Ken Paxton was the only attorney general who might have a chance at piercing Big Pharma's shield of immunity. So your family members who were murdered by things that they shouldn't have been murdered by now have a potential opportunity to get some kind of justice.
Well, Will Jr. Rockstar says he's seen a lot of videos from folks heading to Fort Worth. So I think we have the convoy headed here. If you know, and if Chili was here, he probably would have been here this morning.
That is true. And Chili and I were scheduled to go to Uvalde, Texas to help the woman who lost her children. Child Protective Services took her children from her. This is the woman who rescued her kids from the school while the police had it on lockdown and refused to let the parents rescue their kids and refused to go in to help. So this woman escaped her handcuffs, apparently hopped the fence and rescued her kids. And what was her gift from the state, from the government? They went ahead and had Child Protective Service. Well, first they locked her up and then they took her kids away. And so Chili and I were headed down there when he got thrown in the dungeon. And so that's why I'm helping out with this, because he was actually going to spend his own money, his own earnings to go down there and help me raise hell to help her get her kids back. Without some kind of publicity, we don't have a shot at any of these things, guys. There's a lot of things in this world that justice needs us to do, but we won't get justice unless we have some kind of popularity and coverage. Coverage is everything. So that's why I said I'm going to go ahead and help out. And I've given a lot of coverage to Chili's case, and I would hope that it was for the better. And as a result, now we're on to Carolina's case, and her case is even worse. I mean, she likely has a brain injury. And so I'll just get into this with you really quick. The brain is one of the most fragile areas of the body. This is on my website over at Eline Law Firm. If it's called What is the Difference Between a TBI and an MTBI? And so my background, just to lay a foundation, is for the last, 15 years or so, I focus pretty much on motorcycle accident brain injury cases. I do other stuff, yeah, but my primary focus has been helping bikers and veterans who have been in motorcycle accidents, and usually they get brain injuries because those helmets don't protect their brains. And so since the brain is one of the most fragile areas of the body, any kind of trauma can lead to suffering and a period of unconsciousness. And many types of brain injuries can occur. Some are less severe. There's mild traumatic brain injuries like a concussion, but a mild traumatic brain injury can actually be more severe over time and develop into a CTE, like what's happening with a wrestler or hockey player, boxers, repetitive blows to the head, CTE injury. And there are other types of serious brain injuries like diffuse axonal injuries, and they can take years to present relevant symptoms. And that's why diagnostics are crucial as soon as the initial injury occurs. And so again, there are two main types of head injuries. There's TBIs and MTBIs. They both can be life-threatening, and that's why I don't want you people to discount, oh, maybe it was just a concussion, right? Because that's probably what the sheriff or the chief will say, oh, it was just a concussion, right? No big deal. But a concussion can kill you too. You can get a brain bleed, and especially a woman who's older, and if they have hormone issues or are taking hormones, it can cause all kinds of problems with blood clotting and bleeding on the brain. So look, as a personal injury lawyer, I've had to memorize the physician's desk reference, and I've sat through hundreds of hours of expert witness testimony on brain injuries. And I'm telling you guys, a blow to the head is no joke. And that's why I like judo more than than the striking arts, because I think it'll help me last longer. Getting punched in the face, getting knocked out too many times, man, it's going to make you punchy. It's going to cause problems. So now the main differences between the two conditions between an MTBI and a TBI is MTBIs often include a loss of consciousness, and so do TBIs. But unlike TBIs, a mild traumatic brain injury victim may experience this period of unconsciousness for less than 30 minutes. Okay, so that's the main difference. That's what I want to share with you guys. Until we know how long she was out, we just don't know. And if it's a TBI, she's in a totally different level where she's going to need money and care and support for the rest of her life. So if anybody has an opportunity to speak to her, they need to make sure that she gets all of her diagnostics. She needs to make sure to tell the doctor all of the symptoms: memory loss, loss of consciousness, seeing butterflies flying around, right? Any of that kind of stuff. She needs to report that. Those are all symptoms that we could use later in court to be able to prove her case. Now, liability would lie here. I don't think he's going to be able to rely on qualified immunity. I think that it's also going to it's going to boil down to a false arrest. I don't believe she was resisting, obstructing, or delaying any officer in the performance of their duties. There were no lights on. There was no active police scene, as BZ Watchdog pointed out earlier. And so it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense that, other than just trying to hurt her, there was really no justification other than he was trying to get revenge or hurt her.
I think it was premeditated.
Maybe. Now, typically in cases of mild traumatic brain injuries, vision isn't going to be hindered. So that's the big thing that we're going to run into with a TBI that you won't see as pronounced in an MTBI. Is it goes into the TBI level when you start having blindness, vision loss, color issues. So, this is a really big deal. And I think I explained this in another video. It's like dropping a computer on the ground. Once you drop your computer, it never seems to work the same again. You drop it a bunch of times, eventually it doesn't work at all. And so a lot of people, especially if she has bleeding on the brain, can go into a coma and ultimately pass away. So she needs to look at having probably a CT scan at a minimum done to her brain. I'm assuming that the hospital personnel are going to be kinder and more caring than the officers were in this case, and give her the proper medical attention that she needs. It's very sad what happened to her. Go ahead, BZ.
Hey, by the way, not too far from there this morning, Fort Worth PD also found a dead body floating in the river. So, not saying that that's her, but I'm not saying that officer didn't do something else or if it's even related, but not too far from where she got her head slammed. They found a body this morning.
That's pretty wild. And that's just going to get worse and worse with these open borders and illegal alien criminals walking across. Now we have the Venezuelan gangs and massive rapes against our native populations and females.
The news station that's covering that story on the body, I just sent them a message. Basically, just here's the link to the video. Fort Worth officer Matthew Kreuger slams the woman into the concrete for filming. So hopefully that catches headlines.
Let's hope so, man. So you can see that basically she's facing a lot. She's facing chronic traumatic encephalopathy. It's one of the hardest words you'll ever be able to say as a practitioner or as a lawyer or anyone else on the planet. But that is how Dr. Benjamin Omalu gained his claim to fame. And I got to tell you, that was a good movie, Concussion. If you get a chance to watch it, it's a really great movie and you can learn a lot. Unfortunately, they sort of cut out all the good stuff about, how the NIH and all these billion-dollar corporations control all of the medical literature and the medical journals. So only the industry, the people who pay lots of money, get their stuff out, and anything that contradicts or varies gets buried, or they try to paint you as a quack or a conspiracy theorist if you're not on board with their science, which is this, right? So it's pretty scary what's going on out there. And this gave me an opportunity to showcase that. And obviously living with a mild traumatic brain injury is going to be a problem for her if that's what she has. Already, people are complaining about her social behavior. It could make it make things even worse for her. It could affect her social behavior, movement coordination, cognitive function, and just an overall decreased quality of life. So how much is it worth to you to have a destroyed brain and have cognitive issues for the rest of your life after being body slammed by a cop who was simply angry for you filming him? What do you guys think about that? Does anybody have anything to say? What about you, BZ?
You already know how I feel. I mean, we've been talking about this all day, dude. I'm just waiting for the caravan to get here, man. I just feel bad for her, man. We don't know what she. I mean, I can only imagine if she comes out of this okay. Like, what damage has been done from just slamming someone's head on a damn concrete like he did. I mean, I'm just getting angry again just thinking about it, dude. I mean, I mean, you got to understand. I was actually at the scene. I saw the dried blood on the concrete, bro. That's actually even hit me harder right now. I think is just seeing the amount of blood that was on that concrete earlier when I took those pictures.
Well, Free Country says, I think the cop should have been arrested on the spot and jailed. What do you think about that?
I think he should have been charged with at least aggravated assault, done through the booking process, and have to go through the bail process like the rest of us.
James Forbes says, I hope she sues big time.
Oh, she will. She is the type that will sue, and hopefully there's no permanent or long-lasting injuries or disabilities she has to live with.
That's my concern.
Because my thing is this: what if he did enough damage that we took one of our high-profile cop watchers that are always out there every night exposing stuff out of the equation? That's just somebody we lose.
That's right.
She talks to city council meetings. She goes down to the jail when she sees things like this happen. She's trying to report on it. And now she's a victim of, something very similar without her being jailed. She was on the street, literally holding a camera phone, asking questions, and got slammed to the ground. How many? I mean, wow. She's only like 4 foot, I think 11, 4'10". I mean, she might be about the 5 foot. She's real short compared to me, and I'm 5'9". Because she stood like she doesn't even stand up to my shoulder.
She's tiny.
She is tiny. She's probably maybe 120 pounds soaking wet. She's in her 50s.
She's subject to osteoporosis more at that age. That's a problem.
I actually turned the volume up on the video. You can actually hear her make the sound when she hits the concrete, like and then out. And I'll tell you right now, just that little, I don't want to say it's a little bump on the head because it's not. I mean, it was like like freaking, if anyone's ever watched WWE, it's like the Big Show slamming like one of them little girls. I mean, it just, that the amount of force it takes with no padding straight to the concrete from about 3 foot off the ground.
The dude is sadistic.
But yet, when a guy confronts him, he won't do anything unless he has a gun pointed at him.
Well, let's, I got that beautiful bean footage that you had me do earlier. Let's take a look at it.
Is that the one with Mata talking about getting in Kreuger's face?
Ladies.
Hold on. Blow this. Oh.
Hey, ladies. Hey, Kreuger. No, I'm not going to before. There's no investigation. There's no nothing.
You can go to the other side of the street. You're going to get arrested. I'm not warning you again.
What are you talking about?
The other side of the street right now.
Wait, tell me what first. We're doing it
You're under arrest. You're not.
No, not under. Okay, you
Stop resisting.
There he is.
That's Kreuger right there.
That's him.
Resisting.
That's Kreuger. That's Kreuger. Mike, can you hear me?
Yeah. What's up?
No, that was from the other video, bro.
Oh. So everybody, that is the officer. And you can see he's kind of got those crazy eyes.
He's German, by the way. He's Nazi. 1941, 100% Nazi. Mike.
You were scared of what?
You've got Z papers.
What? You want me to answer your question? Yeah. Okay, you probably want to stop stop talking so I can answer that. I'm asking you, what's up? Repeat your question. Why'd you put a gun on me? Once again, I'm not going to proceed. Scared. When did you tell me to stop? That I was being detained. Mr. Mona, all the details of the investigation will be in your report. You can put out. Why didn't you give me a ticket then? Once again, jaywalker scared. Yeah, you gave me one afterwards, right? Instead of when I asked. Scumbag. Hey, man. Scumbag. You should probably call for backup. You're a fucking pussy. I'm sure you're scared. You should call for backup. Coward. Are you just going to be rude and insane?
So just to give you guys a little bit of a foundation, this guy, Mata, is basically cussing out this cop because this cop pulled a gun on him when he was in a crosswalk or jaywalking, I guess.
He was jaywalking in a crowd of jaywalkers.
Jaywalking in a crowd of jaywalkers, and this dude pulls his freaking service arm out and levels it at Mata.
And so the reason, and Mike, and just to give you a little context about that, that's because Kreuger had a previous incident with Carolina and Mata prior to that incident, which led to this incident after he got arrested for jaywalking by him, which led to the Carolina incident this morning.
Yeah, and so Mata backs up Carolina. So I just want you guys to have the foundation. A good lawyer tries to lay a foundation. And here, now
thank you, Mike. I'm a great lawyer. I know.
Yes, and now you can see that the relationship between the parties, and that this officer sort of has an axe to grind with Carolina and Mata. And so at some point after one of these, this officer levels his firearm at Mata. And so now this is Mata's great revenge when he catches this officer sitting in his vehicle. Now, I don't know the context of this particular altercation. BZ, was this during the night that Carolina was attacked and brutalized by this monster?
No, this was a while back. Mata got arrested for the jaywalking incident. I'm wanting to say around late January, early February.
Got it.
And then Carolina bitched him out after he got arrested, bitched Kreuger out. And then Kreuger was out there again when they were out there, and Mata caught up with Kreuger again. Now, again, Carolina and Mata have had not just one, not just two, not just a handful. The reason is Kreuger's in this area every Friday and Saturday night.
Yeah.
On this street. And they're always down there trying to watch the cops because there's so many of them messing with public intoxication stuff. So what are they doing? They're filming the cops in the same area, and Kreuger's not happy about it. Problem is, Mata gets challenged. He challenges him with a gun. There's another guy there. Now he doesn't get out of the car. He just acts like he's like it never happened. You know, that's why Mata's going off on him. This guy's just laughing. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then he sees Carolina by herself. I mean, those two women cops fully had their arms up in a relaxed de-escalation position. I mean, at one point at the end, right when he slams her, it looks like one female officer like literally starts to move to either stop him or to grab her from falling on the ground.
Yeah, you could tell that the females can recognize Carolina's condition is her human condition. They're much more in tune with who she is as a person. And that officer is just an animal. They know that he's an animal because they're forced to work with him. And probably they're just as disgusted with him as we are. That would be my guess. I don't know. Give me some comments in the sidebar if you guys agree with me, or am I just living in a fantasy land? What do you think, BZ? Do you think that they were outraged too, but they're just scared because they might lose their job?
No, I think those girls. I mean, I can tell from those demeanor that they didn't want to engage with Carolina because they knew who she was and how she is.
Yeah, right.
And when they turned around and Kreuger started getting confrontational, they were even talking to each other like what is going on kind of thing. And obviously, I think they were starting to recognize that he had some prior encounters with her. And next thing you know, as he gets ready to slam her, the one cop looks like she was fixing to do something, and then it was just camera went dark. It was too late. My concern is who shut off her phone.
Right.
That's why do you take the time to go shut off her phone when she's bleeding on the ground?
Well, you got that right, buddy. Clearly something's wrong there.
I didn't see any body cameras activated. I mean, the girls were facing away from her at first. I never saw anybody reach for their body camera. Kreuger, you probably know he stepped out of the car without touching his.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the dash cam would be the only thing that would catch.
Yep. That's right. Yeah, the only thing that I can think is maybe the shopkeepers, hopefully they have footage that hasn't rolled over, and if there's a way to get it, or at least, have her lawyer, whoever her lawyer is handling the civil aspect of the case.
Well, CJ's going to be handling both.
Okay, well, if CJ, I highly recommend that he gets out demands for preservation of evidence to each store, to let them know that, hey, potentially there's going to be a civil or criminal case coming out of this, and you may have videotaped evidence, and I'd appreciate it if you'd preserve it for us, that kind of a thing. So that's something that's really important in a civil case, something that I normally do as part of a setup letter when I open a file. So it's just something that needs to be done. Not a lot of criminal lawyers do civil too, so if he doesn't do a lot of civil, it's just something he needs to do. Let him know, somebody. Now, okay, so Josephine, the reason why it's small is because it's being fed into the shorts feed, because we're trying to get it out to as many people as possible so they know what's going on. So I'm going to be closing this thing up. BZ and I are exhausted. We already spent, I think, a couple hours over at the Delete Laws channel today.
I've been dealing with this since about 6:30 this morning. So,
and then he's been doing this all morning and calling me, getting me all fired up to do these shows for you today. So everybody, make sure to support BZ Watchdog's channel. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe button as you watch this as well as BZ and all these other cool dudes like San Joaquin and all these super cool dudes who are actually trying to fight for what's right while they're on this planet for a limited amount of time, fighting for what's right. Give everybody a bunch of support and a bunch of ones, and make sure to like and subscribe and hit that like button all the time and tell everybody. And hopefully you guys will stick with us. Tomorrow night, I'm going to do something on Delete Laws. I think it's based on one of Here's the Deals videos about cops that get recirculated from department to department. So it kind of segues.
What are you talking about? We just have one right here that just got all unhinged on
That's
Carolina.
Right.
He came from Irving, Texas.
That's right.
And now he's at Fort Worth PD.
That's right. So this is another one that Here's the Deal did, and it just shows the pattern and practice of all these guys being circulated. So it's not just an isolated incident. And then I think on either Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm doing one on a Sturgis, where a bunch of bikers get illegally, in my opinion, detained, and these cops are trying to take their pictures, and there's bystanders doing audit type cop watching. And I wanted to show you, like, that's a pretty scary cop watch, right? Like, 10, 20 cops standing around with weapons and a bunch of freaking bikers, fully, like, who knows if they're carrying, if they're armed, the cops are all scared of them. And just that confrontation, how that went down. I wanted to do that because we haven't done anything like that, cop watching when bikers get messed with. So I thought that would be kind of fun to do. And, Joseph Pisquuli says, fear for your life when criminal are around. That's true. And that's
criminal cops are around. That's what he was saying.
Criminal cops are around. Yeah, that's the whole. I'll put it up here on the screen. And then, Bruce R had his bomb ribeye last night. Good. I hope you had your ribeye with what was it? BZ? Was it a Chardonnay or what's the good wine?
I think I missed that conversation.
Oh, I thought a ribeye steak with a good like a marbled eye steak, maybe with I don't know what's that, Cabernet or something like that. I can't remember now. Anyways, so Jody Shiloh, very true, Josephine, she says, and Stacy Parenti says they trick the public, saying the cop no longer works, but they don't fire them. Okay, she's saying, yeah, they trick the public by getting rid of them and circulating them to another department, and that's the big problem.
Well, the problem that they have is the minute they fire them, they're basically dishonorably discharged, and that goes with them everywhere. So what they do is they put them on administrative leave with pay, vacation for however long it takes to save face and go find another job somewhere else. That's what they do, guys. The police union is very strong here. Carolina's been trying to challenge it for a while now.
So David Murphy says it's too bad that Carolina's friend Robert went home before the live chat. He's 6'4", and he would have protected her. She said everything was quiet to audit. Yeah, that's the problem. You can see he's a bully, right? You can see how he behaves when a man is around, right? Like this guy.
Shut up, bitch. Shut up. You just said you don't want to answer questions. Shut the fuck up. It's not rude. Pulling a gun. Be quiet. Talking about rude. You put a gun on me, bitch, for jaywalking. Talking about respectful and rude. You need to shut the fuck up. Because smarter, you live when you got your fucking dick lickers shut. Don't fuck.
So that's the guy who body slammed Carolina. But one thing I noticed about him, BZ, that a lot of the audience may not have noticed, is that before he body slammed her or face slammed her, he failed to do one crucial thing.
Where are your papers?
Yeah.
Where are they? Oh, you don't have any papers?
To the concentration camp with you.
So, anyways, I think we're going to go ahead and close this bad chicken out, guys. Jody Shiloh, thanks for coming. Thomas Rockholt, thanks again. James Forbes. And for all you brain injured people, look, I'm here for you. I understand and I get it. This is a really big deal for me to see this and to see that puddle of blood. And I'm really worried about her cognitive abilities as she ages, especially, and she needs to get the best medical care. So we need to get all the best journalists in the country on this and expose what's going on with these departments and this recirculating of bad cops. That's the reason why people don't like cops, because they're doing underhanded, sneaky stuff like this, guys. Come on. So we need to change it, make it better for everybody, right? Fix it, fix the system. They need to lose their license. They need to have it permanently revoked, says Thomas, and I agree. And give me a bunch of OTVOs for overturn Terry versus Ohio. Put those in the sidebar for me. Give me a bunch of FCs for free chili. And again, thank you everyone for coming out and joining me and BZ Watchdog on this journey. And again, I'll see you soon. And if you need anything else, if you need to get a hold of me, just get a hold of me through BZ Watchdog. And the story's got legs. I'll keep covering it. I want you all to pray for Carolina and make sure that she gets better. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel.
Or send you to the concentration camp.
Oh, wait a minute. Or
Where are your papers? Map, where are they? Oh, you don't have any papers?
To the concentration camp with you.
and so Semper Fi, do or die.